Music has become a constant in our lives. Whether you consider its proper formulation made thousands of years ago, or since the moment the sounds of nature overfilled the planet, music and noise have been big pieces in the puzzle that constructs Earth. So when humanity encountered a place that was deprived of all notions of sound, it blossomed in our minds to give this place its own tune. A way to say, welcome to space. On May 25th, 1961, President John F. Kennedy announced to the American people, in a speech titled Urgent National Needs, the goals for the nation's space program. Kennedy pledged to land a man on the moon and return him to Earth by the end of the decade. Although this goal would not be seen by JFK, it would not go unfulfilled. His support in recent space development from Russia's Sputnik 1 urged the American government to pour money into the nation's space program. Additionally, this meant beginning preparations to showcase the event to the world. CBS was the television network granted the right to showcase the moon landing, and to make this showcasing an even more memorable event meant crafting music to accompany the mission. Just as a well-shot cinematic is accompanied by an enchanting soundtrack, it just made sense for CBS to construct the first ever Spotify daylist. Liminal moonwalking beats to float around with on a Sunday evening. When constructing a soundtrack to be the backdrop for a world that has been relatively unknown to mankind since their conception, it made sense for CBS to delve into the unknown cosmos of the musical universe. This desire for the unknown led them to contacting a man who, for the past few years, had been constructing electrical tunes which many at the time considered otherworldly. The man behind the wheel of this new-sounding music was Mort Garson. Garson was a name that still wouldn't have rung many bells in people's ears, even at that time. However, within the depths of the music industry, he was a highly respected and educated producer. And to fully understand how he achieved this deal with CBS, it would be best to go back to his younger years. Mort Garson was born on July 20th, 1924 in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. Born to a father that Garson himself considered a junk man, selling secondhand mining equipment and cars and things of that nature. And now when Garson was still a young boy, his family decided to move to Albany, New York. This is where Garson really leaned into his ambition for music. He began to play the piano, propelling himself forward into his desire to become a skilled musician. His hard work allowed him the opportunity to study at the world-renowned music school, Juilliard. And after his time at Juilliard, Garson began to work as a pianist and arranger for films until he was called into the army to work as a medic. His history in the army is not very well documented. However, in an interview, his daughter had one specific she wanted to mention. "My dad was the worst person to be a medic in the world. I think my dad's whole world was music." Garson may have been the worst medic to heal people of their physical wounds, but his hands were not unfit for healing. He knew his music could be a cornerstone in people's lives, helping ease their troubled minds. And after his time in the army, he set out on this mission, to create music that would leave a positive impression on people across the world. A common old legend, told throughout history, has been that if you wish on a shooting star, your wish will come true. The origin of this legend stretched back to the times of ancient Greece. Ptolemy, a Greek astrologist, gave meaning to the strange phenomenon that painted itself across the sky. He believed that shooting stars flew through the gap between cosmic spheres when the gods pried them apart to peek down at the activities of mortals on Earth. A ridiculous theory that has evolved over time. Many people never see their shooting star in their own lives, something to lay their dreams on in hopes of succeeding. However, some people understand within a second when they have discovered something magnificent, something to truly wish their dreams upon. Garson was about to make his wish. After returning from his military service, Garson worked with a bunch of different artists, creating some songs that would actually do quite well. His arrangement work consisted of collaborations with artists such as Doris Day, Mel Torme, Bill Withers, and Ruby and the Romantics. All of these works contributed to his growing reputation as a high-quality arranger. However, on a fateful day in 1967, the way Garson approached music would be completely altered. At a music engineering conference in New York, Garson would meet Robert Moog, the engineer who had created the Moog machine, essentially one of the world's first ever synths. Hearing these otherworldly waves being produced by this machine enthralled Garson. He had seen his shooting star, and all he had to do was make his wish. However, his wish did not come cheap, and Garson supposedly spent $50,000 on the machine, an amount which correlates to around $460,000 today. Yet, this was probably one of the best investments of his entire life. This purchase shocked Garson's wife, but what shocked her more was the strange sounds the house started to be filled with. No longer were the halls filled with the elegance of a grand piano. Instead, it was filled with these techie electronic tunes. Garson almost solely began to create music using the Moog, whether this be through advertisement jingles, movie soundtracks, or other freelance work. These endeavors, and additionally music he had begun to put out utilizing the Moog, caught the attention of some people at CBS, who reached out to Garson through his agent, asking him to compose the music for the Apollo 11 broadcasts. Garson accepted the offer and began to construct the music for a place where music had never been before. Garson completed the track, titled Moon Journey, and sent it to CBS, where its tunes would orbit in people's minds on July 20th, 1969. July 20th, 1969 was an important day for Garson. Not only was his music about to be played to millions of people across the world, it was also his birthday. That evening, he hosted a pool party with some of his family and close friends, and he stated he remembered how everyone rushed to the television when his music started to play on it. People dripping wet from the pool, all standing around to hear his otherworldly music. It is estimated around 600 to 650 million people tuned in to watch the moon landing globally. That is the largest television broadcast of all time. And to put that into perspective, the highest viewed Super Bowl games pull in around 100 to 150 million people. This meant Garson's music was being listened to by hundreds of millions of people across the world, yet Garson's house might have been the only one in the world more focused on the music than the landing. Garson would never gain some immense popularity from this arrangement. His big moment just happened to be the backdrop for one of humanity's biggest achievements. Garson led a quite successful life as an arranger after this, creating more electrical tunes for others or in his own albums and creations. But sadly, in 2008, Garson passed away at the age of 83. And during his own life, many of his own albums never got a considerable amount of attention, and another saddening fact was that his track Moon Journey seemed to have been lost to time. The only footage of it was on one YouTube video, and the video had been taken down due to copyright issues. However, in the late 2010s, Garson's music started to gain traction. An album Garson had released in 1976, called Mother Earth's Plantasia, had been making streaks across social media as a diamond that had been hidden in the rough. Garson was inspired to make the album due to the plants his wife kept at their house, giving the album the description, warm earth music for plants and the people who love them. And additionally, people loved the eccentric way the album had been released. In 1976, to purchase the album, you either had to make a purchase at Mother Earth, a plant store in Los Angeles, or you received a copy of it with the purchase of a Simmons mattress at Sears. This resurgence in Garson's music pushed people to uncover more of his music. With the growing underground popularity for Garson's music thriving, a music archivist, Andy Zaks, made an incredible discovery around 2022. Zaks had come upon the original recording of the Moon Journey music, and in 2023, the music was released for people to finally listen to, a way for people to finally experience the tunes that accompanied one of humanity's greatest achievements, and a way for Garson to finally take his place among the stars of the music world.